This episode is garbage. You're in the Playhouse. Wow, lucky they didn't bring these to the curb yet. This always happens the day after they dust the Playhouse. I mean, this isn't garbage. I didn't cut out the records yet for my cereal box record collection. You know, I was thinking they should bring back cereal box records. Here's the Jackson 5 and the Sugar Bears. These sound good. You know, that got me thinking. What makes something collectible? There are things that are meant to be collected, like trading cards. But then, what makes something become collectible? And that's what we're going to be talking about. But first, it's time for our very special hellos. Christopher Cruz, Caddy, Logan, Frank, Mr. Stickermania, Sticker Granddaughter, and Sticker Kid, Patricia of A Little Beatles Corner, Andy and Tom of Two Legs, MFK, JVS, Andrew of Parlogram, Rachel's Ghost, Beatly Tone. A big hello to Matthew Street, Andrew Dixon, Mark and Carol Lapidos, Polly Hewitt, Beetle Brad, Ken Michaels Radio, Brendan Snyder, Beetle Dave, and Dave Sundstrom. Now, if you'd like a special hello, please, whether you'd like to dedicate one to your spouse or to a pet, just leave the names in the comments and we'll say a very special hello in a future episode. And that's our very special hellos for today. Most collectors know that if you have an item that is in the original packaging, it makes it much more desirable. We're not going to talk too much in the Playhouse about value, because I feel mostly in the collecting world, people collect something out of passion, or of course to relive childhood memories, and many other assorted reasons. But yes, our passion, if you do find something in the original packaging, and this is an example, here's a Matchbox car, and yes, now partly this was designed to keep, because it's a Matchbox car in a matchbox. But the majority of these still got thrown away. The car was taken out, and then the box was disposed of, but some serious collectors that just loved the artwork, then they kept the box. But then there are a lot of different facets of, again, what turns out to be a collectible that wasn't meant to be collectible. We're going to start with, well, one more thing. That's true. All right, now, other things that generally got thrown out, we're talking about trading cards, is the wrapper to the trading cards. Now, here's the Beatles one. But again, a lot of these, because their love of the Beatles, they kept the wrappers. But as with the Matchbox cars, it was like 50-50. Some people threw them away, and some people kept them because of their passion for whatever they were collecting. Now, here's an item. Now we're going to move on to items which are the most desirable now. When an item was meant to be used, the inside item, and then just like the cereal box records, you would either cut something out from the box, hence you would destroy the box. That's why this is very interesting, right? When you have the record still attached to the box, then that becomes even more collectible, because it was meant to be cut out, and probably 90% of the people or more cut the record out, rendering the box useless. Now, this is from late 1966, and it is the Yellow Lux double bar soap with 6 cents off. And there was a Beatles offer on the box. And what you did was this, you could send away $2 to get the 4 inflatable 15-inch Beetle dolls that were depicted from their ABC morning cartoon series. You had to send 2 Lux Beauty Soap inner wrappers and $2 to Beatles, Box 1271 in Brooklyn, New York. But the offer expired on March 31st, 1967. So I'm way too late, I think, to get the inflatable dolls. But I do have a set of the inflatable dolls, and that will be covered in a future episode of the Playhouse. But I wanted to share this with you. This was me in July of 1972, and this was the first time that I ever even knew that inflatable dolls were made. And I won these on an amusement park wheel. And that's why my smile is pretty much beaming, because I discovered something that I never knew existed. And that I remember there were like 12 numbers on the wheel, and it was a dime. So we just covered every number. And that's how we were able to win. Because the man would not sell them to us individually. And remember, when you mailed away with the soapbox for $2, they were only 50 cents an inflatable. And again, we're not going to talk about too much of how much the prices have skyrocketed, what a set of 4 of inflatables is worth today. Right now, we're going to keep in the vein of things that became collectible because everyone, the majority, would always use the product inside and then throw away the box. Now, there's one more. All right, now this would be collectible, but all right, so this is a Coke can, we know. But here's a Paul McCartney New World Tour. This is from Mexico, from November 1993. And I suspect that a lot of these are rather hard to find, but I'm sure in Mexico, a lot of people would not have thrown this out, especially this was only available at the concert. This is another thing that they probably keep now. This is the Linda McCartney vegetarian food line, the Plowman's Pie. I admit I had that once, and it was very tasty. And this is from around 1993, this particular box. But the food line was around for many years, and I believe it still exists today. Again, let me know in the comments if you see any of the Linda McCartney line in your local supermarket. Here's the Ben & Jerry's John Lennon Imagined World Peace Ice Cream. Now, this one I would admit, but I know collectors are very passionate, as I was, but just think that this came, obviously, with ice cream in it. So it's like, well, how am I going to preserve this and have it so, I have to admit, the Playhouse did a great job, meaning the ice cream has been totally perfectly removed and washed, and this didn't damage the container. That's a fun item. So now, there's another type of collectible, which again was not meant to be collected, but became highly desirable. This is an Apple Records shipping box that would be sent to the stores with 25 singles per box of the same title. The new Apple record came out. This is how it would arrive. And of course, then the employee would take the records out and put them out for sale, and generally always throw away the shipping box. Again, though, it's a fine line, because with the Beatles, a lot of these, though, have survived because of the desire of Apple record collectors and, of course, the Beatles. I'm going to stay on the Beatles. Now, this is a 1964 Meet the Beatles shirt tag. Now, this would be on the shirt in the stores. Now, this was meant to be collected, but only the photo. And it says here, here's your personally autographed souvenir photo of the Beatles. Obviously, they're facsimile signatures. And there's perforation lines around this. So then you were supposed to pop that out. Now, this is a very widely used photo in 1964 by photographer Deso Hoffman. And I noticed that Paul McCartney's cigarette, he was holding a cigarette between his fingers here, and it got airbrushed out. And it wasn't airbrushed out again until 1984, when Capitol reissued the I Want to Hold Your Hand picture sleeve, which contains this exact same Deso Hoffman photo. And people were like, but that was a different time, 20 years later. So they airbrushed the cigarette out. But I was very surprised to see that I believe this is the first time going back to 1964 that the cigarette is not there. So again, this is the hang tag. And I would think not many of these, even though there was a recent warehouse find of these. And but this is certainly a fun thing that generally would have been cut out, and then the rest of it would be thrown away. Here's a laugh-in candy box. And, you bet your sweet Boopy. Again, something like this would be totally, generally thrown out after the candy was eaten. Here's some Quick Draw McGraw bath soap. Now this is from the early 80s, but most likely, except for the Playhouse, this was used, the wrapper crunched up by probably mommy who's giving her child a bath, and that didn't survive. Now one of the best ones here, well, we got one more soap. We got a couple of more soaps, because soaps are something that I gravitate to, because when I see them and with the soap inside, I know again that this is highly desirable to a collector. This is a Bugs Bunny sculptured soap, and this is from 1975, and Bugs is still in there. And again, you collect a set of your favorite cartoon characters because it makes bath time fun. Yeah, our rarest one, to me, here's the Huck and Yogi bath soap, going back to the early 1960s. And baths are fun for everyone. I think this was also, come to think of it, a nice ploy too, because a lot of times, it was difficult to get your child to take a bath. But if you said you got some Huck and Yogi bath soap, zoom, I'm sure your child would have went right in. This is a great picture box, different photos on the front and back. And yes, I checked it out. The 2 bar soaps are still in there. So this is over 60 years old. And, we love that. Okay, and with that, I really think I need to sort what is garbage and what is not, and take them out to the curb. So we'll see you next time. And for now, the Playhouse is closed. Thanks, Joe Friday.